Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very scuffed Quackcast so far. It's scuffed though. We're starting on time. We're starting early.
We're not.
Really.
We're not. We're not at all. We're 25 minutes late.
Well, considering our track record, this is on time.
Okay.
But no. Welcome everyone back to the Quackcast. I am your lovely host, Raptor, and with me, as always, is the Char Goat. And we are here with a very big show for you today as we go over All-Stars and, most importantly, reveal the playoff bracket going into... Well, actually, there's a few weeks break before playoffs officially start, but we are revealing the bracket today so you can know what to look forward to, and any teams that hadn't seen it yet, you will know who you're facing in the future. First of all, Charlie, how you doing today? It's a big day.
I'm doing quite all right. I was left in a VC alone for 15 minutes. That was massive.
Yeah, well, it
was
it was kind of my fault. It was kind of my fault, and we'll explain. We won't be explaining that today. You might be hearing about it later, though. That's a little teaser. I don't know what's going on. So we're just gonna go over the All-Star matches, which start this weekend, and then after that we have Christmas break, New Year's break, and then we finally get back into playoffs. I believe January 9th is the first day that playoffs starts. So that is the date to be looking forward to. But first, we got All-Stars, and your very own Charlie is on the All-Star sheets. And looking at these matches, starting with the Abyss All-Star team, Team A is Chef JJS in solo, Rigid Rigel in support, Slayer. It's Slayer. Why did that take me so long to figure out? It's Slayer. Emoji Daddy and Margiela, a very stacked team in my opinion, on Team A. Meanwhile, Team B, El Frost, Kaizo, Lycon, Dr. Dilf, and Wetchy. Another very good team. It's All-Stars. What did you expect?
Almost as if these are the best.
It's almost as if these were voted to be the best players in their given roles in the division. But no, this is looking like it could be a fun game, and it's important to note that these are not normal sets. These are Duck Soup sets, and if you don't know what that is, Game 1 is completely random gods, but you have to play that god as if it was in your main role. So if you get a hunter in support, you have to build.
Yeah, let's go.
Game 2 is... What is Game 2? Oh, right. Every team is a specific role. So I forget how exactly they do it. I think they spin a wheel and it's completely randomized. So like it could be a team full of mages versus a team full of hunters, or any combination of the 5 roles. So that's always fun. And then
mages have got to be OP.
Actually, surprisingly, I think assassins hold the record. I think assassins are undefeated in all the years that we've done this. So I don't know. It could just be that the better team had just happened to get assassins every time. Who knows? That could be. And it could be that I'm completely talking out of my ass and I don't know the stats at all. But and then game 3, you get to pick your opponent's god. So if you're the solo laner, you get to pick the other solo laner's god. And we see a lot of Khepri jungles, Opwashes come out in this. Anubis supports. We see a lot of that too.
That's gotta bang right there. I know a guy who can play that.
Full tank Anubis.
I know a guy.
Coming in clutch. But yeah, so these are not normal sets. They're just completely for fun. And I can see, just knowing a lot of these players in that Abyss set, they're a bunch of trolls. They could make this a lot of fun.
think every division I think every division has the man. This is gonna be a troll set mentality. Everyone's
Okay, but they're not Chef JJS emoji Daddy Margiela level trolls. Those guys,
Have you met the Shallows ones?
I honestly haven't even really looked at the chat. Okay, so the
Wow.
Shallows one, I'm looking at it
Well,
now.
well,
Uh,
let's get the deep sea first.
let's get to
Skipping
the deep
around
sea
now, trying to
first.
be right.
The Deep Sea All Stars. I'm sorry for jumping around. Yeah, if you've been on this, if you watched this show before, you know it's a complete mess. We just have fun with it. But Deep Sea Team A is Corbin, Lies of Eden. That's a very strange name, but I kind of like it. Snowy in the jungle, Josh in the mid lane, and Czar in the ADC. No surprise there in any of those roles. Team B is Juke Boots, Enraged Moose, Arrow, Rich, and Krega Afro. So again, very stacked teams. Almost like that was supposed to
Yeah, with
happen.
All Stars, yeah. Whoa.
Oh. Um, if this was a normal team, we'd be looking at a collusion scandal here. I'm not naming any names. But Shallows, we see Charlie, Mr.
Yeah,
Chargoat
that's me.
in the solo lane on Team A, teamed up with Dirty Bubble, Kuzco,
Yeah.
Freakout, and Bracking. A very, very, very good team in Shallows.
I like my
and
team.
very trolly team, especially the solo laner. He's gonna feed his ass off.
Have you met my support? My support's a creature sometimes.
Dirty Bubble, that's true. Yeah, that is true. But they'll be going against Team B, which has Shriek in the solo lane, M. Donlin in the support role, Azure in the jungle, Stormy in mid, and Bugcatcher Lan making his return to the All-Stars in that ADC role. A lot of good sets, and we will be streaming these on the QSL Twitch, which you are watching right now. So be sure to hit that follow button so you get alerts as to when that is happening. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that we will be streaming these. But Charlie, besides the obvious one that you're gonna pick, what stands out among these All-Star teams that you're looking forward to?
Dude, Deep Sea A is the sweatiest team I think I've ever seen. That is the sweatiest All-Star team right there.
Well, let's see.
I love everyone on that team. Like I respect, I look up to everyone on that team. But if I were to see that in like a regular set, dude, I would be like, get me out of this.
That's a pre-made team right there. That's the collusion I was talking about
That's a crap
earlier.
team right there, dude.
I mean, we already know you're the Snowy simp.
Listen. Snowy fanboy is what I like to go by.
That's
my
just
favorite
another way to
DC
say
player to
simp.
watch.
That's just another way to say simp. Czar is a very good ADC over there. I just faced her last week, and she has been a top mid laner in the Deep Sea division for quite some time. Moving over to that ADC role, and she hasn't missed a beat. Czar is just a very, very good player. Josh the Landlord, a storied player here in the QSL. Glad to see him back in the All-Stars. I don't know Lies of Eden. I gotta be honest, I do not know Lies of Eden, who Lies of Eden is, as much as I love that name.
All I know is I like Corbin. Corbin makes me laugh.
Corbin's a cool dude.
Corbin makes me laugh.
Corbin's a cool dude. I gotta be honest. Team A in all of these just kind of seems to be better in most cases.
No.
Okay, what's your counter argument? Because
Dude,
I'm looking at the rosters.
Team B and Shallows. Team B and Shallows is literally just a Legion, but you just put a different backline on it. You took my favorite mid laner and you put him on the other team. What are you doing?
That is true. You're a little biased. You do love Stormy. That was your whole point when I was supposed to face you. You were like, Stormy's gonna diff you. So
hey, that's just Stormy's my favorite little player. But I get my Brackout backline. Okay, Brackout backline has gotta be OP.
Brackout, are we officially licensing that? Are we copying
yeah,
that?
it's Brackout. Brackout double T.
It's the Brackout backline. Okay. If I cast this Shallows one, I'll be sure to call that out.
The
I actually
Blackout
really
back.
like that. The Brackout
I know.
backline. Brackout backline. You're gonna have me
Oh.
saying that this entire stream. I hate you for it.
Mighty
Um,
Horns has the Blackout backline.
oh,
Uh,
but looking at the Abyss division, because for some reason I feel like we've talked about this the least, despite how good these players on it are. Team A, I've already mentioned. This is a very troll team, and if they get the chance to troll, they will. Chef JJS, trolling is basically his middle name. He's Chef trolling JJS. Um, Emoji
oh,
Daddy Martin.
JJS is the last name?
That I
That's,
just
that's
never
gotta
mind.
be.
Okay,
Calling you out on that one.
Chef JJS trolling. Enter last name here. Does that make you happier?
Perfect. Thank you.
But Rigid Rigel, another he was a deep sea player who was brought up after week 2, I want to say, and he made Abyss All Stars. Vetting team. What were you thinking?
He's a funny little guy.
He is. Like,
He's a funny.
I wasn't kidding when I said that this Abyss A team might be the trolliest of the entire bracket, just because I know that at least 4 out of 5 of these players are certified troll classics.
Right. Classic.
Meanwhile, on the other side, El Frost, Kaizo, Lycon, Dr. Dilf, Wetchy, that's a sweaty team. It's literally going to be troll versus sweat. Which one's better?
I think every single team is gonna troll their hearts out. I think this is like we see like 3 people with triple doubles in like each set. And then each set I'm gonna say there is one person that will not be able to play the game. There is the designated
There's going to be one
you.
person. that even his own teammates, like his teammate is somehow going to get Ymir, and he's just going to constantly kill him. Just wall him off and sacrifice him.
Well, sorry, Patrick and my one there. That's crazy, dog.
I'm just imagining. Like Team A, on game 1, the random picks, right? They get like Opwash jungle, Kepri mid, weird stuff like that. And then Team B, right? Team B just gets a normal comp. And it's the random pick, so it's completely randomized. And they just happen to get a hunter, carry, guardian support, all that. That just seems like I don't know. It'd be insane, but for some reason I could see that happening to this all-star team in game 1. I just could. It'd be kind of funny.
It would be funny. It'd be a vibe.
It would be. In that case, I could see Team B really trolling.
Every team is gonna troll.
Every team's gonna troll, but I think that of the 6 teams, I think the Team B might troll a little less than everyone. When I see these names, I think Tryhard wants to win.
Well, that's just because we know them from like regular season.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that is true. Also, I think it's kind of funny. Kaizo wanted to pick Wetchy up in the midseason draft for the Spaceman. That's exactly what happens. The Spaceman pick up Wetchy. Kaizo instantly asks for a trade and gets traded to the Foreman. So Wetchy and Kaizo finally get to play together in the All-Star game. You know Wetchy's gonna chew him out about that. You just know it. But final things before we move on to the brackets, which I know everyone is waiting for. We have MVPs and MIPs. If you don't know, MIP stands for Most Improved Player. So the Abyss MVP is Chef JJS, who we were just talking about, was a signified troll. Snowy, the girl that our Mr. Char Goat here simps for, is the Deep Sea MVP, and then Azur, the Shallows MVP. And as far as MIPs go, we have Arrow for the Deep Sea, and then Char Goat is the MIP for the Shallows division. Charlie, what do you make out of these?
I do know Deep Sea was like super close. Like there's like 3 people I wanted to vote for Deep Sea MVP, and it was like Snowy, Craig, and Czar, because like all 3 of them were just like they were all stars on a team full of all stars,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like they every single set they just played so well. Like Craig was like doing his normal Craig stuff up in Abyss, and still gaming on people.
Yeah.
Um, Czar was just looking like the best player on the best team, and Snowy was able to consistently put out dominant performances even while you know losing a set. So I do know that all three of those people deserved MVP because they were just killing it the entire time in their roles. Um, Other than that, I've successfully Mickeyed my way into a MIP when I went 3-10 on a Kabrak in week 4. No, everyone seems to forget about that when voting for MIP.
Hey, it's
Week
because of
4,
what you do after that, right?
I
It's how you
lost
improved
after
from
that.
that.
I lost.
It's how you
The
improved
next
from
set
that.
I lost.
Also, I want to call out a few names in Twitch chat. X Stacy 0308. Raptor has that ADHD brain. How could you tell? Yes, I do. It's not a question.
It's very
It's
apparent.
not a secret either. I have very bad ADHD, and that's why there's so many issues with this cast. um,
Figured it out finally.
it, It is really funny. Like if you see how I do this show, and then look at how I like present myself when I'm actually casting a set, I'm two completely different people. And it's kind of funny. You could kind of hear it when I was casting the 1v1s and I started doing play by play. I'm two completely different people. Something about just like casting an actual set really just like clicked something in my brain. Um, Crazy how the
Because the podcast is just like a conversation.
yeah.
Cast is like, yo, this is like I gotta make them care about this now.
Yeah, it really is. And then Sniper calling me snazzy. Thank you. I'm
Very simple.
I told Charlie, like, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? I literally said I'm planning on dressing up for the bracket reveal, and I was not lying.
Maybe
I even have the khakis on, and you can't see that. I made
maybe
sure I was fully dressed up for this.
yeah. To clarify, he originally was gonna dress up for the support 1v1s we had scheduled today. That was the real motivation behind him dressing up, but
Sure.
yeah, since it got canceled, you can't just switch an outfit like that. So
To be clear, I thought the support 1v1s were happening last week. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. And I was going to I was going to make it a formal cast. I was going to make it a very formal cast.
very
While
snazzy.
a snazzy cast, that's better. A very snazzy cast. Um, but unfortunately, we're just here having a conversation about All Stars and how Charlie is the MIP. Um,
Unlucky, really.
it your words, not mine. But finally, for the moment you've all been waiting for, we are going to be looking at the brackets for the Abyss division, the Deep Sea division, and the Shallows division. And just so you're aware, only the top 6 teams make it in because of the 2 teams disbanding in Abyss. All 6 teams that were in there did make playoffs, so they didn't have to. They weren't at risk of missing playoffs. They were just fighting for standings and which team they would face going into it. And on that note, let's just go right in. And
Whoa.
I'm gonna move us right back. ADHD brain, ADHD brain. Remember how I mess
Yeah.
everything up? I don't have our
Yeah.
mics attached to this screen, so give me one
Oh
second.
my lord. So we're just quiet.
We were quiet. I was looking down at the audio mixer on OBS, and I'm like, why isn't anything showing up? And I'm like,
I
oh,
was correcting you and everything.
you were correcting me, and now they will never know what was said. Let me get this implemented real quick, but to reiterate what I was saying, they already got a decent look at the bracket. What I said was 4-minute patricians. I feel like we might as well just move them to the semifinals, not
Well, they're
because
already in the semi.
move them to the
Spaceman and
finals. I'm sorry, move them to the
okay, wow.
finals, um, because the Tyrannos, the Reapers, the Swarm, and the Spacemen, they all have forfeit issues, and the 4-minute patricians don't.
Well, I mean, playoffs, you get gems, so I'm assuming they'll want to show up for that. That'd be a nice thing to do. If they don't, unlucky, comma, at least finals will be fun to watch.
You're not wrong about that. And I did finally get this fixed, so now they can finally hear us over this
Math.
screen. But just looking at this, are there any? There shouldn't be any surprises. We knew exactly what spots would, who would be going in what seeds going into
Actually,
this
I
past
was
week.
I was very surprised because I want to know how Reapers and Swarm were decided. Were they decided by coin toss?
That that is not my question to answer.
I need to know.
In fact, that was already decided when I made this graphic, and I didn't
Alphabetical.
ask questions. I just made it. So, but is it other than that oddly specific thing that I'm sure everyone wants an answer for? Is anything surprising to you, even though we knew exactly these
Not
spots going
not
in?
not really. I think Abyss has been like locked for two weeks now, so we kind of knew what we were going into for this playoffs. Four men are probably still the team you gotta beat. If you're patricians or spacemen, and you're happy that you're on the other side of the bracket. For Tyrannos, you're insta doing prep for foremen, seeing if what you can do to prep for them. But it's really hard to prep for a team when they haven't lost all season, so it's going to be interesting. Will Tyrannus be able to knock off the Kings and create the underdog wrong, or will Foreman just go on to finals and dominate this whole tournament?
Well, how about we go a bit more into that? Looking at this top half of the bracket,
We get a zoom in.
we got zoom in. I brought out the best for this, except for implementing the audio beforehand, which I apologize
Massive.
for. But hey, Tyrannos versus Reapers is our first matchup, and then winner faces Foremen. Let's just look at this Tyrannos versus Reapers matchup again, assuming this gets played, because yes, there are gems on the line. And X Stacy, I see your chat. We always do predictions. You just have to wait until after we talk about each match. But Tyrannos versus Reapers, how do you see this match playing out if it does get played?
So the thing is, I don't know what dominant Reapers are because I've yet to see them play. So I'm gonna go on a limb, and I'm gonna say Tyrannos will most likely. This will most likely be a stomp if it gets played, because this Reaper team most likely does not have a whole lot of chemistry, and if they do finally play this match, it will be it'll be like your first week playing together, and it'll be very awkward. Meanwhile, Tyrannos have been playing with each other all season. They have chemistry. They know how they want to play. So I'm gonna say that if this set gets played, it will be a 2-0 in favor of Tyrannos.
Yeah, but this is something that we have to look at. The Tyrannos, neither of these teams have played a set already in about a month. Or like the last time the Tyrannos played was against a Spaceman, and that was 3.5 weeks ago, give or take. And then they're already waiting another 3 weeks before this matchup against the Reapers. These are Abyss level players, right? Like, we all expect them to just be good, but that hurts chemistry not playing with each other for a month and a half. And I gotta wonder, will the Tyrannos will they have that chemistry advantage over the Reapers because of that?
I think they will because they've played with each other more than one time. I
I,
think I think that is a huge advantage, and
I sense
also
some shade being thrown.
it's just man, you gotta play your sets. Like that's it. Like you just play your sets. It's fun. It's fun to play sets. I like playing sets. That's why I play them. play sets.
It is. Um, and if you watched any of our past streams, you'll know I have a very strong opinion about forfeits. And this past week, I actually have a statistic for you. There were supposed to be 10 sets played. Only, actually, yeah, only 4.5 of them were played, and one of them
I
was
know where the half came from.
yeah, one of them was game two. Was a forfeit because players on rage quit on a certain team that I'm not going to call out. And so the league as a whole has been plagued by forfeit problems, and that hasn't been any more evident than in the Abyss division. And that's why I made the joke: should Foreman and Patricians just already be in the finals? Because that's what will happen if we have two double forfeits. They'll just automatically be in the finals. I hope that doesn't happen. I really do. And
I doubt it will.
I doubt it will as well. Because I know the Spacemen at least. They've been having tardy issues, and this isn't just because I have insider knowledge. They've been having a couple of their players have been having issues just getting to the set, and that's why they had to forfeit this past week against the Reapers. But the Spacemen have been playing their sets otherwise for the most part, and so I think at least the Spacemen versus Patricians, given that the Swarm forfeit like they have all season, I think that set at least we played. This Tyrannos versus Reapers set though, I don't know. I'm not very confident in it being played, but if it is played, I will say it will go 2-0 to the Tyrannos personally.
Yeah, I have to give it to Tyrannos because I've at least seen them play at
Yeah.
least one set.
And then we might as well talk about it. We'll be able to talk about it a little bit more in depth after the semifinals, or after the quarterfinals. I'm sorry, because we will be back on air. But if the Tyrannos versus Reapers win, do the Tyrannos have what it takes to take down the Foreman?
So I'm gonna be honest. I think Foreman, out of any division, might be the team to show up and just play 5 games of Smite and win a chip. I think that they really can go undefeated during this whole tournament because they have just looked like the best team, and I don't see that stopping. I think the people on that Foreman team are real grinders, so they like to play the game a bunch and just win. And I think that this tournament will be no different. I think that Foreman are the team to beat. So if you don't come into it with a plan to beat Foreman, I think Foreman will just roll you. So I think that this Foreman team will most likely beat this Tyrannos team. Statistically, it should happen.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, but we can go, as I said, we can go more in depth about that on after the quarterfinals, which it's crazy to think that the next time we'll be talking to each other like this is almost a month away. And you may or may not be have already, no, you would have already played your quarterfinal set, so you would already have.
Yeah, I'll know where I am.
You'll know where you are. You'll know where you are. I already know where I'm going to be.
I'm going to be very happy or very sad.
But let's move on to the bottom half of the bracket with the Swarm versus Spacemen. And I'm going to say it right off the bat. Swarm have not played a single set all season. The Reapers have at least played one set, and they lost 2-0. The Swarm have forfeited every single set and been a part of 2 double forfeits. I don't see the Swarm showing up for this
I do
set.
not. If they do, it's some tech. It is some tech, really. Play 0 games and qualify to quarterfinal. If they win this match, that would be... It'd be funny. Would it be competitively great?
I would
Most
go
likely
on a
not.
riot. I would go on a riot.
It would be funny. But I think this set will most likely be forfeited. And I think Spaceman will take it a good old 2-0. I think Spaceman, by virtue of playing the game, or playing sets at least, a little more, I think that Spaceman will take the 2-0. I don't think it's... I doubt this game is going to be played, though. I'm going to be real. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah. And under the assumption that this set is played, we've already alluded to it. The Swarm have not played a single set together. I have no clue how they
Maybe
play as a team.
maybe they're scrim demons. Maybe they are scrim demons, and they're just like, you know what? We can do this in playoffs.
But
Maybe
here's the weird thing. As of week 2, they were instantly in playoffs. Before that, they forfeited 2 matches, and they were at risk still of not making playoffs. So I
it was
don't
their
know. I
plan
don't think it
all
was.
along.
I don't. They forced the Frost Wolves and the Bars to disband.
It was their
It's a
plan all
conspiracy
along.
theory. It's a conspiracy theory, Johnny. But no, as far if this set does get played, which again I highly doubt it will. The Swarm, I haven't seen anything from them. I don't know how their team play is going to be. Meanwhile, the Spacemen, I have 2 names for you. Lycon, actually 3. Lycon, Zach, and Wetchy.
Why are you
Tho-
lying to me?
those
Why are
3,
you lying to me? You said I was gonna be gonna be 2 names, and you
and then I
spit out
corrected
3
myself
names.
because I realized I left one out, and I'm not going to reveal which of the 3 I left out. But Lycon, Zach, and Wetchy. Uh, I think that even if the Spacemen had their other 2 roles filled by Starhoppers, which has happened already this season, and both sets they came out with dubs with just those 3 players. Um, I think that even if the set does get played, the Spacemen, as long as they have all 3 of those players, I think that they take that set handily. And the Swarm could come out and surprise me and infuriate me, which if that does happen, tune in to the show after the quarterfinals, where I get to scream my head off about that. But as of right now, I think that whether this gets played or it's a forfeit, Spaceman 2-0. And I think that's probably the easiest decision of this entire bracket. Um, and then the winner, which is most likely going to be the Spaceman, moves on to face the Patricians. And that's the Spaceman versus Patricians.
That actually might be a close set.
That will
Be
be
real.
one hell of a set. I don't know if you remember the Spacemen and Patricians. They hadn't played the Spacemen. This was before they got Wetchy on the roster and they were having serious roster issues. This was before they even had Kaizo on the roster. So their only consistent players were Zach and Lycon. They were having serious roster issues, and so they had to forfeit to the Patricians. But if I was doing the show that week, which it was the week after I did my show, that would have been my game of the week because that was going to be one hell of a matchup. And I think that if the Spacemen move on to face the Patricians, it will be the same.
Yeah, I mean, last time they thought if Spacemen weren't late, it would have been a 3-game set. That would have been awesome to watch. But I think this set will be the closer of the 2 Abyss semifinal matchups. And I'm gonna say that I would give it to Patricia. I'm gonna say Patricians would take it 2-1. I think that this would be a 2-1 set. I think Patricians are a little bit slightly more put together, and I like Chef, so I'm gonna say Chef's team makes it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. And again, just like the Foreman set, we will talk more about this when we come on the air after quarterfinals week. But for right now, Patricians awaiting the winner of the Swarm versus Spaceman. Now, let's move on to a division that's a lot more fun to talk about, shall we?
We shall.
Ferry,
That we shall do.
the Deep Sea Division, Ferrymen taking that first seed with a dominant 2-0 win over the Starhoppers, who did have a couple subs on their roster, unfortunately. The Journeymen taking another dominant win, this time over the Raptors. So it really seems like they found their groove again after that loss, and that because of that, they take the number 2 seed and the bye away from the Raptors. The Plebeians getting the dub, so they jumped the Starhoppers and the Priests, and the Priests unfortunately falling down to the sixth seed, so they have to face the Raptors. Anything surprising, just bracket wise overall? Anything catch your eye?
Um, I have to ask, did Breeze win their match? No, they actually. Oh, they have to
No,
the Frost.
they forfeited to the
Okay, that
Frost
is.
Foxes.
I am surprised that Star Harpers are fifth because I thought that Priest and Plebeians would have won their matches, and then it would have been Star Hoppers versus Raptors. This is surprising, and I think that it makes semifinals a whole lot closer. I think semifinals are actually a whole lot closer because of how things shaked out. But I think quarterfinals are gonna be a little stompy.
Oh yeah,
That is,
you think so?
yeah, I think so.
Well, how about we get into those quarterfinal matchups, starting once again with the top half of the bracket. Plebeians and versus Star Hoppers, and then Ferrymen awaiting the winner of that match.
So I think plebeians are a team that have played, and I think that them being fourth seed, in all due respect, is a little bit of a reach because I think that I think there are a couple teams that are better than the plebeians, that are still like either in this bracket or got eliminated already. However, I think that the Star Hoppers are a little bit more of a put together team, and I think that this set will be a 2-0. It is not a knock against anyone on the plebeian. I just think that the Star Hoppers are a more consistent team.
Yeah, and the Star
And
Hoppers, if you look at their match against the Ferrymen, they had yours truly in the mid lane, which is not my main role anymore.
oh god,
So, um, it was a little rough.
I can
And
imagine so.
yeah, and so I can imagine that they are really wanting that rematch against the Ferrymen with their full roster, because there were times where we had them on the ropes early in the game, and then we fell apart. But
I'm guessing the
mostly
13
because
or
of me.
0 Ishtar game
Yeah,
2 did not help your case
it
in mid.
didn't. It didn't at all.
It
But
rarely does.
but looking onto the plebeians and star hoppers, hopefully the star hoppers have their full roster. And I completely agree with you. You want to hear something crazy? If the journeymen don't drop that set to the plebeians, the journeymen are fighting for first place against the ferrymen, which I don't know who. I don't remember who has the tiebreaker. I don't think it would matter because the journeymen would have been 1 point behind them. I could be wrong about that, but they wouldn't have to worry about the matchup against the Raptors as much. And the plebeians, it wouldn't have mattered what happened in the past week. They would have been sixth seed anyway, and it would have been Starhoppers versus Priests. So
Mhm.
that win over the journeymen really helped the plebeians, and I called that win a complete fluke, if you remember back when it happened.
I I did agree with you. I did. Um,
And so because of that, if the Starhoppers have their full roster, I think that this would be a stomp. I think that the plebeians should be a sixth seed team, and the fact that they're fourth seed blows my mind. But so credit to them, they really stepped up and beat my expectations. But I think the Starhoppers win this 2-0 if they have their full roster.
I am inclined to agree because like I said, I just think that Star Hoppers are a bit more put together as a full team. So therefore, I think that this set will be a 2-0 for the Star Hoppers as well.
Yep, and the Ferrymen, who have been a dominant force all season, is waiting their is awaiting their opponent. And if you're the Starhoppers, as I said, you are wanting that rematch, which I think puts even more fire under them to get this win over the plebeians, so you can get that rematch, hopefully with your full roster. And knowing Snowy, knowing Animated, they all are not happy with how the end of that season went, and they want to prove themselves. And I
Yeah,
think that they'll come out and just stomp the plebeians.
I agree with you that they will stomp the plebeians. Now in semis though, I have no reason to bet against the ferrymen because the ferrymen have been playing like one of the like a top 2 team this entire season. Uh, like their only loss was against Journeyman. In like a like, and I just yeah, I think Ferryman are definitely going to finals. I think that it is. I think who I have in finals are a lock, and I doubt that it will be changing. It would have to be a huge upset in semis for Ferryman Journeyman to not be your final, in my opinion.
Well, just like the Abyss division, we can talk about that later. But you did bring up the Journeyman.
I
Uh,
did.
they have arguably the easier road if the priests pull off the upsets. No,
Yeah,
the Raptors, I don't see them losing to the priests. This is gonna be a stomp. I think the Raptors 2-0 the priests easily, and they get that rematch against the Journeyman.
a lot of rematches.
Yeah,
A whole lot of rematches.
it's almost like we predicted that the last week would be a tone setter for the semifinals. Huh.
Massive.
Um,
We can do basic math, ladies and gentlemen.
um, but yeah, I think the Raptors, especially after a heartbreaking loss to the Journeymen, like we saw the Journeymen, they came out and they were angry after that loss to the Plebeians, and they really turned it around and got back to that number 2 seed. Uh, I don't see the Raptors are in the same boat, and unfortunately, the Priests were on the receiving end of both of those games. The Priests faced the Journeymen after the Journeymen lost to the Plebeians, and now they face the Raptors after the Raptors lost to the Journeymen. I feel
Yeah,
bad for the Priests, but that's how I see it.
I I'm inclined to agree with you. I think Raptors are just gonna stop this game. The Priest players are very good, very talented players. I just think that the Raptors team is just built a little differently. They're built a little differently. I think that this team is gonna come out. They're gonna 2-0, and then semifinals is gonna be a fun match to watch. And I think that this is going. I think Deep Sea Bracket is probably going to be my favorite bracket to watch because I love watching like all 4 teams. All 4 of these teams I love watching. Journeyman are probably my favorite team to watch, so I'm rooting for them. But I this the if anyone wins in Deep Sea, like out of the top 4, I would not be surprised. I think they're all, good in teams. I love all 4 teams.
All top 4 teams. So in that, are you including the Star Hoppers or the Plebeians? Because
Uh,
technically, the Plebeians are in the
so
top 4.
okay, so I think I think Starhoppers are a top 4 team. I think Plebeians are not a top 4 team in their
The
current
Plebeians
state.
got lucky in a few
In
cases.
in their current state, I do not believe they're a top 4 team. However, maybe going into playoffs, they could become a top 4 team because that's what this break is. It's a chance for you to, spend some time with family, of course, but also really after that you can get some scrims in. You can start to really hone in on your practicing and really try to show up and you know be the best team.
Yeah. And it is important to note that if the teams losing in the quarterfinals, their season's over. Teams losing in the semifinals, though, they still get gems. They will be playing in third for the third place match. So the quarterfinals matches are important to these players, arguably more than the semifinals, because they do want
Wow.
those gems. Because that's why we play, right? We don't play for the love of the game. We play for the cash that it gets us. But
Speak for yourself. I just like competing. I
no,
like
it's
competing.
it's the same for me. I don't care about the gems. I just like comp smites, which is why I cast. But so yeah, quarterfinal matches. Loser goes home. Winner guarantees themselves some gems. So those quarterfinal matches are extremely important to those teams. But let's move on to the division that I have a lot to say about one of these matches.
Oh
And I
boy.
know you have a lot to say about the other match.
Ooh,
So
fun.
Mighty Horns takes the number 1 seed, as everyone expected. Legion takes number 2. Apprentices take 4. Serbs 5. Frostpups 6. And Fledglings taking up that number 3 slot. And so, same question before we get into individual matches. Anything surprise you going in?
I'm surprised that Legion are not number one, and I know why they're not number one, and I'm a little cross about it, so I'm gonna vent about it. Okay, so I'm tired of watching this team drop games to these fifth, sixth place teams. I'm tired of it. I get that Frostpups against Frostpups like this past week. You're playing with a couple subs and you're dealing with suspensions. Fine, whatever. But like, this is Legion. This is your number one team.
They were
Like,
number
this
1 the entire season until they lost to the Mighty Horns.
Well, not even that. It's just like even if they went out for the rest of their season, if they 2-0'd both Frostpups and Serbs, they still would have been number one. But for some reason, these Serbs Frostpups are their kryptonite, and I don't know why. I get that Frostpups were extenuating circumstances, but Serbs are a good team. But I think Mighty Horns have just been playing better all year, and you're coming out and you're like, all right, we're beating fledglings, we're beating apprentices, we're looking competitive against Mighty Horns, and then I don't know. I was a little cross when Legion lost 2-1, or Legion won 2-1. Sorry, when they won 2-1, I was a little cross because it should have been 2-0. But
you wanted to be facing the Mighty Horns?
No. Okay, I would rather face the Legion. I think Legion is the more fun team to fight, but I don't like how they got here because they were dropping games to two teams they should have 2-0'd, and I was very upset about it. I expect more from them. I'm friends with a lot of people on this. I expect more from them.
Well, we can get into your rivalry with your friends in a bit, but first, this is the match I wanted to talk a lot about, okay?
Okay.
Serbs and Apprentices. Serbs getting the
Right.
forfeit against the Astroducks, Apprentices dropping to
Massive.
the Mighty Horns. So they ended up tied in points, actually. And the Apprentices, back in week 2, won the tiebreaker 2-1.
Right.
This is a very close set on paper. In
But
practice,
in
I
practice-
don't know how close it's gonna be, but on paper, this is literally as close of a match as you can get in the QSL playoffs.
I can see how it is close on paper. In practice, though, I don't think this is very close. I think that there are a couple roles where apprentices have some of the best players in the division. You have Bubble support, you have Simon Jungle, Nino Solo, and Knight's Hood ADC, Kobe mid. These are like good players. These are players that if you were to put them on a top team, they are fragging and they are looking like the best player on that team. I think that Serbs are struggling in the jungle department at the moment. I think that is the thing that is plaguing them since I want to say week 3, is that they haven't had a consistent jungler, and I think that is what is really going to hurt them going into playoffs. I think that for whoever they have in jungle right now, they need to just be practicing a lot with them and making sure that they are as prepared as possible to deal with apprentices, because apprentices have shenanigans. That is a team full of shenanigans. They will literally try anything, and that is all thanks to their captain Bubble. They will try anything. They hate trolling, but they will try anything.
You can't say they hate trolling when I literally saw Bubble go Jingwei jungle in a set.
That was Gumbo. That was Gumbo.
Oh, that was Gumbo. That was Gumbo.
You can't slander Bubble like that. It was Gumbo. Okay.
I think Bubble was in that match, and I think that's why I got confused. Either way, the apprentices, I agree in practice. As far as we've seen so far, the apprentices should win this pretty handily. But I can't get past the fact, and you mentioned it, the Serbs play up when they need to.
That is true.
And they gave the Legion a run for their money. They They didn't do a whole lot of damage to the Mighty Horns, but the Serbs know how to play these top teams, even if they do tend to struggle against the lower teams, and that's why they find themselves at the 5th seed. You know who else that sounds like? SK Gaming back in Season 6.
Oh, come on. You can't SK gaming them. You can't label them SK gaming now.
I'm just saying, I'm just drawing parallels. But no, I agree. The Serbs have a lot of lingering issues that the apprentices have found solutions for. And so, personally, I'm giving this 2-1 to the apprentices.
I'm saying 2-0 to apprentices. I think apprentices, if they lose this set, I think my good friend Bubble will never hear the end of it. Because he just won. He just won QSL last season. He just won. I'm not accepting him not winning this one. Or not winning this quarterfinals match in particular. This is a must win for him. And I think he will win. I don't think he has no reason to not win. So I'm gonna say that he 2-0s here.
Well, they've got one hell of a matchup waiting for them if they win.
Being fed
Dirty
to the
Bubble, the returning champion, will have to take on the
brackout.
towering, the brackout backline of the Mighty Horns. That, again, we're gonna talk about this a lot more in depth later, but whoever wins this match, I don't see them moving on to finals. I'm just gonna be completely honest. I think Mighty Horns, unless they absolutely troll, which they could, they could. I think that whoever wins this locks their self into the 3rd place match. That's just my opinion.
Okay, I want to say here's a point that we have not brought up at all. Okay, so these quarterfinal matches are actually played after the play-in bracket for World. So you can kind of grasp onto whatever meta they could be running down there or up there in the SPL, play-in bracket for Worlds, and you're able to basically practice that in quarterfinals and have a little bit more of a firmer grasp on a meta. So I think that if a team comes in with their meta and it happens to be the meta that works the most, I think that you could see some major upsets. I think apprentices could be that team to bring in that meta. I think that, like I said, they try anything and everything, and I think that this team, will pull out something a little spicy, and I think that they'll give Mighty Horns a run for their money, but at the same time, I think on paper Mighty Horns just have such an insane backline. Like, you have Freak Out bracking, and then your dive even is PFC Patron, and that's pretty solid right there. So this Mighty Horns team is pretty scary to fight into. So semis in both sides of the bracket are going to be fun matches to watch.
Yeah, they really are, and like I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing this Serbs and Apprentices match. Every single quarterfinal match we've talked about, even the 4v5 matches, we've said are going to be blowouts. This is the first one where I'm saying it could go 2-1, and I really think that. I really do believe.
Sticking to 2-0. I'm sticking to 2-0. But I have too much faith in Bubble.
Even so, you'll admit this isn't going to be a blowout on the same level that we've talked about.
It's not going to be a blowout. I think it will be a close 2-0, is what I will say. It is a close 2-0.
Okay. I'll take that. I'll take
I'll
that. I'm still sticking with the 2-1 Apprentices over Serbs, but I'll take that. Let's talk about something that might not be so close, and I'll let you take this one away. Fledglings versus Frost Pups.
Okay. So, I think that Frost Pups, in their current state, are carried by their jungler. I think Kuzcode is a cracked kind of player. He's got that dog in him. He's the most insane European I know. Next to Printers. Printers and Kuzcode are just Europeans that are built different. But I don't know if Kuzcode can carry his team to a win against us. I think our team is notorious for hating junglers. We will make it so junglers will never dive our backline because, it's just how we like to play the game. We're not only cringe healer abusers, but we also just never like people diving our backline. And I think that in every other role, I think we have more practice in, we have more consistency in as well. I think that even with recent roster shakeups from my side, I think that things are still going to be things are still going to be a blowout, but with a chance of Kuzco just carrying a game. I think that could happen. I don't think it is likely to happen, but I think it could happen. Kuzco is a very good jungler, so I will say that we still 2-0 Frostpups.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make a hot take. And I don't know if this is
You're gonna
going
make
to
a
be.
hot take.
I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I think that this is gonna be the worst blowout that we see of any of the quarterfinal matches. And
Really?
note that's with us saying that the Swarm will forfeit to the Spaceman. I think that this will be. I think that this is gonna be the worst blowout. You're right about Kuz Code possibly going off, but
Mhm.
you guys are with the fledglings. I think they're just too good. You guys are just too good.
I appreciate it,
And I
but
don't
my
think.
support did just die to an obelisk last set, so I would like to take this with a grain of salt.
Okay, well in that case it's 2-0 to the Frost Pups. But no, I'm sticking by with what I'm standing. Even
Mhm.
with us saying that the Swarm and Reapers might forfeit, they are probably going to forfeit their quarterfinal matches. I think that this is going to be the worst blowouts that we see, and I feel bad for the Frost Pups. They are talented players in their own rights, but I just
I
don't see it happening.
we are gonna have to agree to disagree on that one because I don't think this is gonna be a hard blowout because there are Kuz code type gods, right? Now, I don't think this is a team that supports Kuz code type gods. I think Kuz code in other leagues have teams that support Kuz code type gods,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that in this current state, they do not have the roster to do that. But Kuzco just sometimes will pop off. But I just don't think it's likely that it will get anywhere against our team. So that's why I'm saying it's 2-0, but I'm not going to say it's a blowout 2-0 because that's the moment where I get 2-0'd. So I'm not going to say it's a blowout.
It makes sense that you're not doing it. The amount of times I've jinxed myself on shows like
Astro
this.
Curse will not hit me, okay? I will dodge that thing.
But no, I'm gonna stick to my guns. I'm gonna say it's a blowout. Fledglings take a 2-0 over the
Mhm.
Frost Pups. But that's gonna do it. We've gone through every single bracket. I'm gonna show them again, and we're gonna go through them again just real quick. So quarterfinal matches: Tyrannos versus Reapers in the FF division, and Swarm versus Spacemen. Those are your quarterfinal matches. I believe we both said that Tyrannos and Spacemen will take it,
Yes, we
probably
did.
by forfeits, but if not, they'll take it 2-0 anyway.
2-0. Yep. I
Um, and
that.
then the Spacemen will go on to face the Patricians, while the Tyrannos, if we're saying is correct, who knows what's going to happen. These are matches that are 3 weeks out, but winner of the Spaceman match will face the Patricians. Winner of the Tyrannos match will face the Foremen. Moving on to the Deep Sea division, Plebeians versus Starhoppers is your 4v5 quarterfinal, and then Priests versus Raptors are your 3v6 quarterfinal. And we both went again with 2-0s here, agreeing that the Starhoppers and Raptors would move on to face the
Yeah.
Ferrymen and the Journeymen. Any final comments you have on this division in these quarterfinals?
Uh, Once again, I think that once we get to semis, this is the most fun division to watch. I like this division quite a bit. I like watching this one.
No extra comments on the quarterfinals. You're just
No
looking
extra
forward
comments.
to
No,
to
I'm
semis.
looking forward to semis.
Just watch the plebeians and priests. Like they're watching this and they say and they try and they prove us wrong. And the
Dude,
Starhoppers and
if they
Raptors
get it
fall.
there, then that's even more fun to watch. No matter what, this is a fun. This is gonna be fun to watch. No matter what,
Uh,
whoever wins, it's fun.
I 100% agree. And then finally, Shallows division, the Apprentices versus Serbs. This is these two tied with points, remember, and the Apprentices did
Uh-huh.
technically get the tiebreaker. I said 2-1 for the Apprentices. You
I
said
said
2-0
2-0.
for the Apprentices. So either way, we're saying the Apprentices win, but I'm giving the Serbs more credit than mean old Charlie is.
Hey. Hey.
And then set number 2, we both went 2-0 with fledglings over frost pups. One a bit more aggressive than the other.
You calling me mean? You're calling me mean, and you're saying I'm gonna blow out.
I mean, I'm not wrong. I still think that the my belief is that the fledglings and the frost pups match won't be close in the slightest.
No, just for you, I'm gonna make it 2 50-minute long games. I'm gonna hope you have to cast both of them.
Thanks for that.
No problem.
You know what? I actually like casting the longer games. This is kind of off topic because we're kind of at the end of the show and we talked about casting at the beginning, but I really like doing the long matches because they tend to be close and not boring. Or they're incredibly boring, and in that case, I like to mess with.
We're gonna do nothing. First kill is gonna be at 30 minutes. That'll be first blood right there.
And I'm just gonna pick the
That's
mind.
for you.
I'm just gonna pick the mind of my chair too, trying to figure so that they can figure out what the heck is going on. But hey, Charlie, thank you as always for joining me. It's always fun to talk about this with you. We have some laughs. We have some serious conversations. You are the Char Goat for a reason. That was awful. That was awful.
That was the
worst one I've done in so long. But to all you guys, thank you for tuning in. It really does mean a lot that you tune in for the show. I love doing it. Charlie loves doing it. And everyone else on the podcast team, which I think only Owen is the other constant one who's showing up, which he's not here tonight because he's allergic to talking about serious stuff. But yes, that is going to be the show for today. It's a shorter one because we didn't go over the last week's matches. Well, we kind of did by saying that only 4.5 of them were played. This is a shorter one. We had no 1v1s. We had no. We didn't go over last week's matches. This was all about All-Stars and playoffs. And I'm super excited. We're a few weeks out from it, so you have your time. These teams have time to gather their thoughts and figure out their strategies going into these matches. But thank you all for tuning in. I really do enjoy this, so it means a lot for you to tune in. I've been your lovely host, Raptor. Joining me, as always, is the Char Goat. That one was a lot better. And we'll see you all next time.
Duck it.
Just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be so